What's your story in this journey to where you got and where you are today with psychological safety? Um, and feel free to go back as far as you would like to childhood and just the evolution and the formation of your deep belief in the importance of this.
Yeah, good question. So basically, 2 points come to my mind. One of them is about my experience working at companies with high level of psychological safety and without or with very low level of psychological safety. And the second one is about my, again, sort of background, how I started in this business of training and consulting. Let's start with the first one, my experience. Once I worked at one company and I dared to ask a question to my manager. And then his response to me was, "That's a stupid question." And at that moment, I didn't know how to react. I felt powerless. And since then, I didn't ask him many questions because I was afraid of getting that reaction. What is more, other employees started to imitate this in the workplace. So you ask a question, and then you are likely to get a reply, "That's a stupid question." It was a workplace, it was a toxic work culture. By the way, this company was always number 2 in the world in its area, and never number 1. Of course, there are many reasons for this, and one of the key reasons is the lack of psychological safety in the workplace. So I had that experience. In contrast to that, I worked at Facebook, especially in the beginning. It was an incredible working environment. Of course, it was not a paradise. It had its own challenges as well. And at the same time, it was a workplace where employees were encouraged to speak up, bring up ideas. I remember we had one internal page, like internal Facebook page, where employees every day share any idea that they have to improve the business. And there are special teams monitoring that group to come up with ideas, select ideas, and work on that. So it was two different opposites. And going through that, it made me even realize the importance of psychological safety. That's point number 1.
So could I ask about, because I'm always curious about that person, that Baha at that age, what was shaping in your mind? You take the toxic, or you take either one. What was starting to shape in your mind and in your heart around your beliefs around leadership at that, if you can remember, in those moments?
Yeah. So going back to the bad experience, what was shaping in my mind about leadership? So that was leadership, or that organization was based on fear. And I was performing in the short term really well because of the fear. But in the long term, the organization lost me as a person because I resigned. And that was a painful experience because trying to go there every day, I used to meditate in the morning to be able to have energy to withstand that pressure and the environment. And after, of course, resigning and then starting my own business, it was a relief. And then to see, okay, how can I contribute to a world where organizations, leaders, employees can be more aware of this? And actually, the starting point was not psychological safety. When I started in 2016, I started with the topic conflict resolution. That's what I did my master's on. And I realized that the conflict resolution, the phrase, has a negative connotation. In many organizations, they didn't want to focus on that. So I changed it to collaborative leadership. And then in 2016, I created a model on collaborative leadership. And one part of it, back then, 2016, when psychological safety was not popular, one part of it was on psychological safety. And the key point was pandemic, 2020. I did a learning session online. Many participants were from the US, VP level directors, managers. And to my surprise, the session got very high rated. And since then, I focused more and more on psychological safety. So my previous experience in organizations plus this journey from conflict resolution, collaboration, and then pandemic, psychological safety, and then it started to increase.